Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Frivolous Writer, where you can join me on this journey of me writing my very first novel. Today is Tuesday, and you know what that means? That means I'm going to read another chapter from my rough draft of my first novel that I'm putting together. We're halfway through. But before I get started, I want to again just say thank you so much to everybody for all of your views. I've been seeing lots of people watch these videos. It's been awesome and exciting, and all of the things that I know I say every single time I come on these videos. But I really mean it. It's wild to see how many people are watching this and commenting, and it's just been amazing to see and to experience. And just another really big thank you, because this keeps me accountable. And I just want to say these last couple weeks have been rough. Like getting the inspiration, getting the motivation to get up and write every day is not easy, and it can sometimes be taxing. And then to think about having to put a video together and put it on YouTube for other people to watch is bananas. So it's just been awesome. I did get a comment from someone, I can't remember your name, I'm so sorry, but saying, can we skip the intro? And I just want to remind everybody, I do put chapters in these videos, every video. So if you don't like the recap of the previous video that I do, or the intro, you can go ahead and skip ahead. So for those of you who are here just to listen to my rough draft, feel free to skip ahead to that part. But I also wanted to remind everyone that NaNoWriMo is coming. November is just around the corner. Today is the 7th of October. Where does the time go? It just keeps flying and pushing forward. So make sure, if you are trying to participate in the NaNoWriMo month, which is the National Novel Writing Month, which is November, where you're going to try and get 50,000 words in 30 days. Make sure you start preparing now, because it's only 3 weeks away, which is wild, and it's going to come before we know it. So I know I'm already trying to think about what my next novel is going to be, because I do want to try and do that 50,000 word challenge for the month of November. So just make sure you start outlining that now. And if you are a pantser, I still recommend just doing a real loose outline of what the story is going to be, because 50,000 words in 30 days is very quick, very tough, and will take a lot of time for you. So the faster you can do that, the better. And also, lots of things have been running through my head around inspiration and motivation, as I was saying earlier, and just making sure that I stick to my promise to myself of that 15,000 words. Sorry, 1,500. 15,000 would be insanity. 1,500 words every day. And I just want to be honest with everyone. It hasn't happened every day this last week, because it's interesting. I sit down to write, and the writer's block happens. And I do write just a couple of words, maybe a couple paragraphs, and then I'm like, oh, it's just not coming. It's not flowing. So I just wanted to share that with you, for anybody that is also experiencing that. I don't know if maybe it's because the full moon was last night. Not quite certain, but for those of you who are experiencing that, I just want to remind you that is a normal part of writing. Sometimes writing is sitting at your desk, or your laptop, or your notebook, or table, or couch, or your bed. I think someone said that they write in their bed. So wherever you're writing, sometimes it is normal for you to write and not actually write anything, to like sit down to write and not write anything. So just know that is normal. That is a normal part of the process. Do not be hard on yourself, because the next day you can sit down and maybe that's when it'll come. So what I try to do in those moments is I go, okay, it's not happening. Let me flip gears. So I either try and go for a walk, which is what I did this week, and it actually helped. And then all of a sudden yesterday, I sat down and wrote literally 10 pages in one go with no breaks. And it was that moment of like everything kind of shutting off around me, and I felt so inspired. So I just want to remind you, there are going to be those days that happens. And if that happens to you, do not be hard on yourself. Don't let up. Keep going. Get away from that feeling. So go for a walk. Maybe the other thing I do is journal. So in those moments of lack of inspiration, I try to journal. So what is on my mind? What is going through my brain? And then sometimes even at the end of that journal, then all of a sudden I'll feel inspired in the middle of journaling. So there's that as well. And I just wanted to bring that up because I know I've been really feeling that. So I just want I want everyone to know that if you are also experiencing that, keep going. We are on a journey, and a journey isn't always easy. Every day isn't always easy. I think to any epic fantasy I've ever read, the most notable being Lord of the Rings, and Frodo didn't have an easy go on that adventure. And so we are on that adventure as well. And some days we're going to come across a spider that wants to wrap us in a web and eat us. And some days we're going to be able to walk forward and have Gandalf help us. So all of that is, and I know I mixed up The Hobbit with Lord of the Rings just now, but the parable stays the same. So keep going, keep writing. This is important for you, for your purpose, for what makes you feel fulfilled. So don't give up. Anyway, with that, I do want to get back to the chapter. So I know last Tuesday, I read chapter 5, where we got a little bit more insight into Conrad and the anxiety that he's felt, how he's been on prescriptions, but he's no longer taking them. And then all of a sudden, he was able to blink into the laboratory where he met that shadow man that he saw in Eli's closet and the drawings that Eli had before. So with that, let's get into chapter 6. How does this happen? When does it kick in? Is there a way to control it? Conrad laid in his bed contemplating the events that he'd just experienced. How does it work? He knew now it wasn't just a vision. He was there. He could physically transport to somewhere else. So was he teleporting? His mind was playing again the laboratory, the cool air. The cool air he felt, the cool air he smelled, the sterile cleanliness of the room, and that thing, that man. It saw him. It smiled at him. Those teeth. But how? He turned onto his side and curled his body into the fetal position, putting his hands together under his head in the praying position. This was a position that made him feel safe and secure. Something he did when he was overwhelmed, which happened often. His thoughts didn't stop. He thought back to the times that it had happened before. The first time was in his bed, getting the text from Eli. The second time was in his bed, after going over things that he and Maya read in Eli's journal. He stopped breathing as his thoughts intensified. He felt his face warming, and his heart started beating faster and faster. He clenched his eyes shut as hard as he could. He opened his eyes, and he was standing in Eli's room again. He was there. He was sitting at his desk like before. Conrad turned his head to the closet, and there he was, the shadow man. His eyes were glowing in the darkness of the closet. The man in the closet was shaped like a shadow at dusk, long and lean. His body was slightly opaque. Conrad could see Eli's clothes hanging in the closet behind the body of the man. He had a hazy purple tint to his smoky shadow body. Conrad was frozen in place. He made direct eye contact with him. He was petrified. He tried to scream, but nothing came out. The man gave that same unworldly grin that Conrad had seen before. The smile kept growing and growing, doubling, tripling in size, displaying glowing white teeth. The fear in Conrad peaked, and finally he found the strength to blink. As quickly as he blinked, when he opened his eyes, he was back in his room, in the fetal position on his bed. His heart was pounding. Sweat was dripping down his temple. He was panting, trying to catch his breath like he'd been running. He touched himself all over his body, checking to make sure that he was real. He grabbed his phone to call Maya. He had done it again. He blinked into Eli's room again. He saw Eli. He couldn't believe what had just happened. Where did he go? How did he go there? Questions were swirling in his head. He felt nauseous. He checked himself to make sure that he was actually in his room. The lights were off as usual. He was in his bed, covered in his familiar blanket, safe. He was safe. He remembered that the shadow man was in Eli's closet, and he panicked, frantically looking at everything in his room. He did the scan quickly and thoroughly, anticipating to see the otherworldly grin with too many teeth glowing in the shadow. But he was alone. He patted his bed around him and found his phone laying at arm's length next to his hip, where he must have dropped it before he blinked to where he went. Where he saw that man. Where he saw Eli. In one motion, he picked up the phone, unlocked it, and called Maya. This was too important to text. He needed to tell her now. Jumping out of his bed, he threw on a jacket and his shoes as quickly as possible while the phone was ringing. Hello? Maya's voice came in on the other line. It was apparent that she hadn't spoken to anyone in a while. By the gravelly tone, she had. Maya, it's me. I'm coming over. I have to tell you. Show you. I'm coming over right now. Conrad said excitedly, trying not to drop his phone from between his ear and his shoulder as he started climbing out of his window. What do you mean? Conrad? Maya's voice was back to normal. I'm coming over. See you soon. Gotta go. Conrad grabbed his phone and disconnected the call before shoving it into his pajama bottoms pants pocket. He skillfully climbed down the side of the house, as he had done many times before. Conrad was experiencing so many emotions all at once. Fear, excitement, worry. He was so focused on what he was feeling and on the events that just occurred that he ran the whole way there. He was breathing heavily and exhausted, but resolved to the fact that he needed to show Maya what had just happened to him. As he entered Maya's yard, he was waiting at the front door. She was waving at the front door. She waved him inside. You have to be quiet. My parents will kill me if they know I have someone in my room this late. She was annoyed at Conrad, but also didn't slow her ushering him to her room. Look, I'm sorry to call so late, but this is important, he whispered. I did it again. I think I know how it happens. I have to show you. Still panting from the run. What? I did it again. He raised his voice, but quickly quieted himself again as Maya raised her index finger to her mouth and shushed him quietly. Sorry, I did it again, he continued in a whisper. I blinked. I went somewhere else. A lab of some kind. Where? Maya was flabbergasted. A lab. I'm not sure where exactly, but I saw that man from the shadows again. Conrad's breathing calmed as he was getting the words out. You saw him in the lab? Yes. But you don't know where it was? Yes, Conrad nodded as he answered. And the man from Eli's closet was there? Yes. How did you get there? Maya was interested but remained calm. I don't know exactly how I got there, but I think I know how to blink. Conrad was still whispering. He sat on the floor of Maya's room, remembering that he had just practically sprinted from his house to hers, and his legs were tired. What do you mean, blink? Maya was genuinely confused. I don't know. That's just what I'm calling it, because I have to do a hard blink and then I teleport. God, saying it out loud sounds so stupid, but that's what happens. I blink, Maya. I friggin' blink. He was talking in a loud whisper now, just below his actual speaking voice. You blink. Maya said this more for her own reassurance than to say it to Conrad. You blink, she repeated. Yes, I blink. That's honestly the best way to describe it. I close my eyes, and when I open them, I am somewhere else. Not just in my mind, I'm there. I'm in the lab or Eli's room. His voice trailed off, thinking about being in his friend's room and the thought of his friend. Okay, you blink. My friend is crazy. He's got superpowers? Again, to herself in reassurance. I don't know if it's a superpower, Conrad interjected. Well, you teleport by blinking. What the heck would you call it? Maya said this with her eyebrows raised to the ceiling. I don't know, Conrad was whispering again. But I had to tell someone. Here, I can show you. How? She joined Conrad on the floor, sitting cross-legged in front of him. She put her hand on Conrad's knee and looked him dead in the eye. Listen, Conrad, when you told me you saw Eli that night, I believed you. But now I'm worried about you. We both lost our friend, but I want you to be real here. I can't lose you too. She put her hand on his free knee, and gave a very sincere look to Conrad. I'll show you. Watch. He clenched his eyes shut and concentrated on Maya. He imagined what she was thinking, focused on how she was feeling. Conrad, it's okay. Just stop, she interrupted. Wait, just watch. He closed his eyes and continued. He focused his thoughts back on Maya, focused on her worry. He felt his face start to warm. His heartbeat started to accelerate. He focused on her hands on his knees. He could hear the hum in his ears. He opened his eyes, but Maya was still there, looking at him with concern. Did it work? Maya asked gently. It felt like it did, but I'm still here. The disappointment rushed over Conrad. It's okay, Conrad. It's okay. I miss Eli too, but why don't you just go home and get some sleep? She gave a comforting squeeze to his knees and then got up. She helped Conrad stand up too. I don't understand. It felt the same as before. Here, let me try again. No, Conrad. It's late. I need to go to bed. Let's talk tomorrow at school. She started to push his back lightly, guiding him to the door of her room. It worked before I came here. I saw that man. I saw him, Maya. You have to believe me. I do believe you. I do believe that you believe you saw him, Conrad. I do believe that. I did see him, Maya. I know you did. She was dismissing him. Let's talk tomorrow. They got to the front door of the house and she gave him a hug. Conrad didn't hug back. He stood there as she hugged him. Are you going to be okay with getting home? Want me to walk with you? No, Conrad answered, dejected. I'll be okay. He walked slowly toward the street. We'll talk tomorrow, okay? Maya said, breathy, trying not to wake her parents. Tomorrow. I mean it, okay? Yeah, tomorrow. Conrad didn't turn when he said that. He continued walking towards his house. So that's it. Chapter 6. Something I'm noticing about when I'm writing, I know this is first draft, and I'm really struggling to not go back and just fix the rewrites. And I'm noticing a lot of repeats. So a lot of this is the bloat that we talked about in the other video around the drafts and using our drafts to make sure that we complete. So this is draft 1. So I'm trying not to go back and fix these things. It is harder said than done because I do write it on my notebook first, and then I go and I type it out. And so when I'm typing, I am doing like little fixes, but I'm not eliminating duplicate sentences or duplication of thoughts. I'm just trying to leave it as is so that when I do go back, I can actually fix these or maybe change them in some way. But I'm just writing it as I'm hearing it in my head when I'm doing it into my notebook, and then trying to keep that as true to form as possible as I'm going through typing it out in Microsoft Word. So I do have an ask of all of you. If you are having any kind of what program do you use to write? What system do you use? I'm finding that that I do have my process, but I want to see if there's an easier way. If there's a better dictation program that I can use. How do you keep organized? Anything like that, just pop that into the comments. Make sure that you use the chapter function. If you like these videos, please, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, like the video, do all of those things that will help with building this community, because ultimately that's the point of why I started this channel, is to build a community of people who are interested in writing or something artistic that maybe you yourself have not been brave enough or had the courage enough to start, or maybe you're like me and you had that voice in your head that would get you stopping before you started. So if you know anyone that you think would benefit from joining this kind of a group, make sure you share it with them and talk about this with them and get them involved, because I would love, love, love to hear from people. If you're a writing channel or even a reading channel or anything that's artistic, comment below, because that's how I'll find you. I add everyone that that comments because I want to see what you guys are doing, and I'll help support your channel as well. So with that, everybody, I will see you on Friday. Have a good day, everybody.